Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. It's been a minute, but it is your host, Bando, back at it with a fresh episode. Why are we back at it with a fresh episode? Because we finally got some shit to talk about. Let me take a quick second just to say, the UFC in the past 2 months has been some of the most plain, boring, stale cards I've ever seen. And I know this is like kind of shitty to say with some of the non-top guys being on these cards and stuff like that. And it's no dig at those guys. It's just legitimately like it's been rubbish lately. Let's put it that way. For me to come on here and talk shit about my favorite sport, my favorite promotion, and say it's trash right now, that's how you know something's wrong. But like I said, we finally back with a new one this weekend because you got Islam Makhachev going up to 170 to challenge Jack Della Maddalena for the UFC welterweight championship. The question is, can he get it done? I'm going to answer that question right here in this episode. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Let's smoke. All right, so you already know what I'm here to do. When we are on a fresh episode of Combat and Kick It, we are breaking something down. We are reviewing something. We are talking about highlights, whatever the case may be. But today we are breaking down UFC 322. It is one of the better cards of this year. Like I said, it's been like a lackluster last few months of fights. So this is definitely a pick-me-up, a huge pick-me-up for fight fans. UFC fans need this right now, and it's just a good card. So I had to come through, and I got to break it down. Now, I'm going to most likely just focus on the main card, but I will skim through the prelims on who I think is going to win and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. The first fight on the prelims, and we going straight to the regular prelims. We skipping the early prelims. Sorry, kids. But opening the prelims looks like it's Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. This is huge for both girls. Both girls got 2 losses in their career, and both extremely need a win to boost them to that next level, especially with the championship being on the line in this same pay-per-view card. You want to make a statement out there. You got to make a statement out there, and I think Erin Blanchfield and Tracy Cortez are both going to go out there and try to make that statement. Just depends who's going to get it done first. I would probably lean towards Erin Blanchfield just with the way that she typically has been getting these wins. A little bit more control, a little bit more dominance, and she's a little bit better in the third round to the late second going into the third round. She seems like she's a lot better than most, so I think she'll have that one. I like Tracy Cortez. She's a dog, but I think Erin Blanchfield's going to take that one. Then you move on to Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez. I like this fight because let me tell you, what's going to happen in this fight is they're going to be chucking bombs. They're going to be throwing hard. They're going to be trying to go for the finish. Who's going to get it? I'm not sure. Gregory Rodriguez is the type of guy who's chucking to get the finish, but he can get caught if he's going too hard and leaves himself open. And I think Roman Kopylov is the type of guy who is nice and clean, nice and technically sound, that can catch him with the right counter punch at the right time when Gregory's making the wrong mistake and ends up going to sleep. So I got to lean with Roman Kopylov in that one. All right, so we move on to Bo Nickel versus Adolfo Vieira. This was supposed to be on the main card, but they kicked Bo Nickel off the main card. Kind of sucks, but dude's got to come back. He needs a comeback win badly. Adolfo Vieira would be a very good comeback win, but he needs it. He needs it. He can't go in and lose this fight, and he definitely can't lose this fight in any way similar fashion to how he lost to RDR. So I'm leaning Bo Nickel. I think the wrestling should be dominant enough, but Adolfo Vieira is very, very, very dangerous when it comes to being on the ground with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Even though he got subbed in his fight against Anthony Hernandez, no, we can go back to that, but still, he's a dog. He's a savage. He's an animal. You never know what's going to happen, but I got to lean with Bo Nickel in this one. All right, We are into the main card now. You got Beneil Dariush going up against Benoit Saint Denis. This fight was supposed to happen a little while ago. Pretty sure it fell out, got canceled, whatever the case may be. Who is going to win this fight? I got to lean with Benoit Saint Denis. Coming off a nice little win. Bit more active than Beneil in the recent fights. And if you look stylistically, Benoit Saint Denis poses a threat to anybody who has a style like Beneil because it's similar. It's similar. It's a little bit unorthodox on the striking. There's pressure fighting, there's wrestling, there's takedowns, there's grappling. It's a very similar style, and I think that BSD can go in there and give Beneil some looks that are going to be a little difficult for Beneil. Now, Beneil is a veteran. He has been in there with many top guys. He can make the adjustments to get the win, no doubt in my mind. I could definitely see him being able to do what he needs to do to get the win, but I got to lean with Benoit Saint Denis in this one. I think he's going to have just a little bit more pressure in this fight. He's going to be landing better on the feet, and I think he's going to work it better on the ground. I got to go with Benoit Saint Denis on this one. So now we're leaning into the first fight of welterweight madness for the night. Leon Edwards going up against Carlos Prates. Dope fight. Leon and Carlos, I would say, is a dope fight because you got two guys you know are going to be standing up. There's not going to be no wasted ground game. There's not going to be none of that. Not going to be no grappling, no wrestling involved, no laying on the ground, nothing. This is going to be a fight. Two dudes going in there and scrapping. And I like this fight because I think the style of Carlos Prates, who wants to go out there and get in a fight, is going to force something out of Leon Edwards. We don't see much out of Leon Edwards. He doesn't like to put a lot of action out, not a lot of output. He doesn't throw a lot, and that's one of my biggest beefs with Leon is he does not throw enough. In this fight, he's going to be forced to throw because Carlos Prates is going to pressure him to fight. Prates is not scared about getting knocked out. He's not worried about getting in a firefight. He wants to just fight. He does better when he's in just a fight because he can strike clean and he's fast. If he could pull Leon into a fight and we actually see Leon throw some strikes, it could be a tough night for Carlos Prates. It really can, but you're only as good as your last fight. You got him coming off a win while Leon's coming off a loss. I got to rock with the fighting nerd. I'm going with Carlos Prates in this one. And look, I know I've been rocking with the fighting nerds pretty consistently for the most part. But Carlos Prates has been one that stood out to me for a minute now. And I just enjoy watching him fight. I think he's going to be somebody that we will all enjoy watching fight continuously. Now, if he really puts, like, some seriousness and some legit, like, grind behind his skill set as if he's going for a title, you never know what could happen. Right, there are some really tough top guys in welterweight, but you never know what's going to happen. This weekend shows a lot of what can happen with the welterweight division. After this fight is another welterweight fight, I think. Yeah, so after this welterweight fight, you move on to Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. So you continue with the welter. It's almost like a welterweight tournament for this card. But yeah, I'm rocking with Carlos Prates, but I think him and Leon is actually going to be a lot more exciting than majority of the fights that we end up seeing Leon in, because Leon is going to have to actually fight in this one instead of just defend takedowns and stuff like that. Prates doesn't do boring fights. He's not going to come into this fight boring. He's going to put the pressure on. It's going to be good. So now we move on to Sean Brady, Michael Morales. You know where this fight is going. To the ground. Somebody's going to get either submitted or it's going to be a boring decision. I can see Sean Brady winning either which way. His wrestling is great. And when he gets the control with his wrestling, he's very solid. And I think that's one of the things he can mix it in really well. I think Michael Morales poses a really big threat in that first round. Big threat in the first round. Little explosive, little quick. But I think Sean Brady might be able to work some sort of angle in there to be able to shoot for his takedown, get his takedown, control with his takedown, and get the W. I'm actually confused. He's kind of fighting back in a way. You just went from beating a former champion. I mean, smoking a former champion. He went right through Leon like it was nothing. So you're talking about a 5-round fight where he controlled Leon the entire time, to moving on to dropping down against Michael Morales. Now, this fight means a lot for both of them, right? Michael Morales needs this win to elevate him to the next level. Sean Brady needs this win to keep him in the win column, because you do not want to fall to a guy who is technically ranked ranked below the guy you fought before, right? So you don't want to fall back. It's a downgrade type of thing. So the last thing he wants to do is lose this fight. So both men really are going in there with the mindset like they have to win this fight, and they do. They got to win this fight. Now, obviously, Sean Brady's got one loss. Michael Morales is undefeated, but Sean Brady's loss comes from Belal Muhammad before Belal was champion. In my opinion, it was the best fight that I've ever seen Belal in, was his fight against Sean Brady, and it's because I had a bet on Sean Brady, so that's just usually how it goes. But Belal Muhammad came into that fight, fought fantastic, but Sean Brady needed that. Sean Brady needed that. Some guys are not meant to be undefeated forever. That has to be put out there. People need to realize that some guys are not meant to be undefeated forever. Why? Because you need that loss to reignite something in you sometimes, or to open up something to show you where you're missing out, where you need to fill in holes, where you need to work. Sometimes you just specifically need that. You continuously win. You don't know what you have to improve on because you're continuously winning. Whatever you're doing is working, right? But when you lose, you know you have to make adjustments. You force yourself to go back, watch what mistakes you made, completely reevaluate it, and go again. And I think that was perfect for Sean Brady. And Sean Brady could be that for Michael Morales. If he gives that one loss to Michael Morales needs that loss that could potentially show him where he's lacking, but he hasn't needed it yet. So we'll see. I think Sean Brady is going to bring a tough fight to him. A lot tougher than most of the fights that Michael Morales has been in so far. So I have to lean with Sean Brady. I'm rocking with the momentum. I think that he really is on a trajectory to not necessarily become champion, but fight for a championship by the middle of 2026, maybe the end of 2026. But I can see him being somebody who will be in line to fight for a championship if he gets this win. But I can also see Michael Morales going out there and making it a quick night. He gets those types of finishes sometimes, so it's not impossible, but I am leaning with Sean Brady on this one. I don't know if he's underdog favorite. I don't know who's what in this. I'll probably throw a couple bets down, but your boy don't win these bets, man. Your boy just don't win these bets. It's a very hard sport to bet on. As simple as that. It's a very, very hard sport to bet on. So, moving on. The co-main event, the championship fight that I have been begging for. I have been begging for this one for a minute because it's the only one that makes sense out of all the double champ type of fights that we have done. I was surprised that this one never got done. We are finally getting Valentina Shevchenko versus Weili Zhang. Let me tell you something. Weili is about to go in there and get herself a second belt in a different weight class. You mark my words. I have been calling this shot for a minute. I have been saying there's nothing left for her to do in her division. She needs to go up. And now she is going up. And guess what? In my opinion, the version of Valentina Shevchenko that we have seen in recent years is a George St. Pierre-esque Valentina Shevchenko. And I'm not meaning that in a GOAT status way. I'm meaning that in a way that GSP did at the end of his career, where he focused on just getting the win. Right? Just getting the win. Just defending the belt. Not going out there for a finish. Not going out there to look dominant. Nothing. He was just going out there to get the win. That's kind of what Valentina's doing. She's defending her belt and just trying to get a win. Weili, different story. She wants to go out there. She wants to get in a slugfest. She wants to go to war. She wants to get a finish. She's not worried about nothing at all. I think Weili's going to come in here and bring some problems to this fight. So what is Valentina going to do in this fight? This fight with Weili is going to force Valentina to do the stuff that we loved about Valentina, right? All the things that brought Valentina to the point where she is at today. That's the stuff we're going to be able to get to see. And that's what you want to see. That's what I want to see, at least. I want to see that version of Valentina. I don't want to see the Valentina that's shooting for a takedown when she gets in trouble. I don't want to see the Valentina who's just laying on top doing that kind of stuff. It's not boring. It's not fun. It's boring. I want to see Valentina in her striking ways. And I'm not talking about the little point striking, tapping shit. I want to see you sending them Jessica I murderous head kicks. That's what we need. But Weili is that fighter that could bring that out of Valentina. Hopefully. It depends on where Valentina's at. Valentina is a veteran. They're both veterans. But Valentina is really at that veteran status where she's not trying to prove that she's like the best or anything like that. So you go in there with that mindset. You're kind of a little bit more calm because the only thing you're trying to do is just win. Look, Valentina is one of the best women's fighters of all time, in my personal opinion. She's nasty, but she's slowing down. She's slowing down, and Weili's making noise. I think Weili is going up, and she's going to get her second belt. I am rocking. I don't know if it's Weili Zhang Weili, but I'm rocking with Weili. Only thing I could potentially see is Weili bringing some heat on the stand-up, right? I mean some heat on the stand-up, too. Her catching Valentina, being a little bit faster, and Valentina shooting for the takedown, getting the takedown, being able to utilize the size, because let's not forget Valentina did fight at 135 at one point. So you think about the size, she probably does have that little bit of weight advantage, that strength advantage over Weili. So I can see Weili having success on the feet and potentially ending up on her back, but Weili's no slouch on the ground. She is able to either, one, get back up, or two, be able to utilize her wrestling. She's a very good wrestler too. She trained with Henry Cejudo for years. She's a great wrestler. This fight can go any which way, and you can see it go any which way in terms of the win, like whoever gets the victory, and any which way in terms of you're going to see all the martial arts mixed in this fight. That is a guarantee. This is going to be one of the most technical women's fights you're ever going to watch, because these are two of the most technically sound women's fighters ever. I mean, both these women are clean-cut strikers, clean-cut with the wrestling. You're going to see the martial arts get mixed Saturday night between these two. But I gotta rock with Weili. All right, on to the main event. Can Islam go up and get himself a second belt? Great question. What's gonna happen? Tough call. Really is a tough call. First off, let me say, Islam looks like he filled out for 170 just fine. The dude's looking yoked. Okay, not what I expected. Right, when Khabib a couple months ago, Khabib was saying that he was struggling to get himself up to a base to be at 170. Right, because you gotta go all the way up to probably like 185, 190, and then you're cutting down. He was saying he was struggling getting up. So I was kind of like, maybe Islam's gonna be too small for welterweight. Nah, that man's not too small for welterweight at all. But where's the fight gonna go? Him and JDM is a very interesting fight. JDM has a strong, awkward base when it comes to the defense for wrestling. You saw that against Bilal. He's been training with Craig Jones, who kind of already has a little bit of a blueprint on fighting Islam or defending against Islam Makhachev, because you go back to the Volk fights, Craig's in his corner. That first fight, Volk defended fantastic in that first fight. You can't say nothing about it. He fought fantastic and defended fantastic in that first fight. JDM is much bigger. Can JDM utilize the same tools that Volk did, or some of the tools, and be able to defend against Islam? That's the biggest question, right? Did what him and Craig do in the gym change anything? You already trained for Bilal. So you were training for Bilal with the takedown defense, protecting yourself from that. A lot of wrestling, a lot of scrambling, getting back up to your feet, stuff like that. But Bilal doesn't have nearly the control that Islam does. So It's very interesting to see what's going to happen when JDM gets taken down for the first time or when Islam shoots for the first time. Let's not forget JDM's hands are polished. My man knows how to box. He's got beautiful boxing. He's got beautiful hooks. He's quick. He's a little unorthodox too with his southpaw striking. He's a little unorthodox, but he just is. He's good at throwing different angles at you and different looks, different combinations. He throws combinations, good combinations. Throws body shots. Right. He works the boxing, which can be good, but I think he's got to work kicks up the middle a little bit to keep Islam back. If look, Islam's the type of guy who can get drawn in with the ego to strike. So if he can draw him in with the ego to strike, JDM could have some success. I think JDM's got to catch him at a point where like Islam's coming in, where he's coming in with the chaos. I've talked about this before in one of the breakdowns I've done for Islam. When he comes in with the chaotic striking to set up for the takedown, just to push you back, that's when I think Jack needs to step forward and counter. If he can do that, step forward and counter at that time, he might be able to land something. Now, if he's going to knock him out, who knows? We'll have to see. Jack does have that knockout power. Jack has finishing power. Jack has great boxing. And Jack's got good takedown defense. So why wouldn't Jack win this fight? Because. That's my answer. Because. Because it is a Dagestan wrestler from AKA. Not just a Dagestan wrestler. I'm talking about one that is trained at AKA with some of the top wrestlers, with obviously with Khabib. He's under Khabib, been training with Khabib his whole life. Then you get training with DC, you get training with Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold. AKA is a stacked gym. It's a stacked gym, right? You get the best training in the world there. So that's why Islam would win. Not only does Islam have the skill set, he's got the wrestling strength, right? He also has a top tier corner to make adjustments. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. It's going to be a really good fight, though, I think. It's either going to be quick or it's going to be 5 rounds, 4 rounds, maybe someone getting finished in the 4th round or something like that. But I think it's going to be a good fight. My full-on prediction, like if I had to put money on it, yeah, I'm probably going to go Islam Makhachev. But at the same time, I'm not sleeping on Jack. Jack is a natural 170. He's big. He's strong. He's a great boxer. Like I said, he's got good takedown defense. And Craig has already wrote some sort of blueprint to be able to defend against Islam Makhachev. So, if someone could go out there and get a finish against Islam, Jack Della Maddalena is the guy. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying if someone does, he's the guy. But I think I'm leaning, so far I'm leaning Islam. So far. And I've been back and forth with this because I do think JDM really has a huge shot. So I'm back and forth with this. I'm not 100% locked in, but I'm back and forth with it. Probably leaning a little bit more towards the side of Islam Makhachev. So with that being said, that's the end of this episode. I appreciate you guys for watching the breakdown and predictions. You know what to do if you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando's out.